And my point is this, and there's different types of businesses. I know there's been a few businesses that I'm aware of within the state that you know liability arises in certain situations, and it causes businesses to have to be more alert. So if someone has been shot across the street or stabbed and walked over and ended up something happened to them near or on their property, then that creates a responsibility for that business to be on a heightened awareness for their patrons. Okay, so I think we have something in place to protect people as is, and that means that these businesses that are in an area or in the business of having more, in a business of attracting those who like to fight or do things that maybe not happen at the local grocery store during the daytime, that hadn't happened in 45 years, that happens, consistently. I think these businesses have a duty to protect and provide security, armed security, for their patrons, right? So if something happens in that situation, then of course the person, and if that security wasn't provided, that person then would have the ability to sue that business. But my issue comes with, we're talking about insurance premiums here. We're talking about a lot of things for businesses and a lot of liability for businesses that, have no record of any sort of violence. And there's no law that we're going to pass here in the Tennessee General Assembly that's going to stop violence. And guns don't cause violence. Knives don't cause violence. Those folks who have their hands on those instruments cause the violence. But my issue is, we had this debate, back when Bill Haslam was governor, and we had a lot of gun bills come through this committee and sat through hours and hours of debate, and it was about this. It was like, well, let's talk about our constitutional right to carry a firearm, but let's also talk about our property rights. Let's talk about individual property rights, and let's talk about property rights as a business owner, right? And so I think we're back there again. It seems like almost like deja vu, and I think that we came to a good spot when we decided where we were going to allow firearms and where we weren't going to allow firearms in regards to private businesses, because we have to allow them to take responsibility and control for that business that they started, and to care for those patrons that they invite into their businesses. So I think we're going a bit too far with this piece of legislation, in that I think we trust our businesses to have the responsibility and have the capability to protect the patrons into where they're inviting them, no matter what part of the community or what community they're in. And there is, I think, a mechanism for recourse for those who invite patrons in and don't protect them the way that they need to be protected. So there are my issues with the bill, and Mr. Chair, if Representative Todd would like to respond to that, I'd love to hear it.